Hey everybody, Shadow Ninja here and welcome back to Rage Quit. I just got back from seeing Solo, a Star Wars story, and I am here to give you my initial thoughts on the movie, and I'm going to be splitting this video into two parts. The first half will be a non-spoiler review including my final rating, and when we have covered all that good stuff, we will hop over to a spoil-filled review. So ladies and gentlemen, humans and Wookiees alike, let's get started. I thought this movie was awesome. Just to put it plainly for you, I didn't think it was going to be as good as I thought it would. There have been many doubts about this movie since its first trailer. I even made a video discussing my concerns with the trailer, but all my worries have been laid to rest, because the movie was just a fun and carefree origin story for Han Solo. The actor for Han Solo did Harrison Ford's character justice, and throughout the movie, the young Han's mannerisms, the way he talked, how he would interject in conversations, showed that the actor portraying him definitely did his homework. The same goes for Donald Glover, who played as younger Lando. The way he talked and his arrogance, this sort of swagger he had about himself shined throughout this character. And Chewbacca. Oh man, he was probably the best part about the movie. He definitely had some moments in the movie where he took the spotlight from Han. He's a little more brutal, but is still just as fun as he was in the original trilogy. As for Qi'ra, she was okay I guess. The actor portraying her didn't do a bad job. Her character was definitely relevant to the story and stayed that way throughout. The plot of the movie was multi-layered, unlike The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens. It had variation and showed off different adventures within the story. The quote-unquote bad guys of the movie were interesting and mysterious. They didn't have a lot of depth, but we do find out their motivations, and they make some pretty cool opposing characters. The humor was well placed. Unlike The Last Jedi, certain jokes didn't break tension in the scenes, and they were actually funny. The action sequences were fast-paced and pretty eye-catching. Unlike Rogue One, it wasn't a war movie, but it had more of a gangster showdown feel to it. And the one thing I was worried about was how they were going to make Han and Chewie meet, but I was actually surprised how well they did it. The way they meet wasn't what I had in mind originally, but it fit both of their characters to meet that way. And the Millennium Falcon stole the show in many action scenes. The tricks Han pulled with that ship were just awesome. There seems to be something new that ship can do in every movie that it's in. That's all I got as far as spoiler-free content, but before I head into the spoiler section, I just wanted to say that I am very satisfied with this movie. I know there were people who wanted it to fail to teach Disney a lesson, but Solo taught itself its own lesson. It's okay to have fun with Star Wars and their respective characters. Even though the franchise is one of the biggest in the world, doesn't mean that it has to take itself so seriously all the time. All the actors played their characters well, the directors and writers made an awesome story, so that's why I'm giving Solo, a Star Wars story, an 8 out of 10. This movie has some really great qualities, and I would definitely recommend it to any Han Solo fan. I'll be getting into the spoilers now. This is your chance to click off the video if you don't want to know about any of the in-depth information, but if you have no plans to see it and just want an overview of all the cool stuff, stick around. So let's get into the spoiler-filled section of Solo, a Star Wars story. So the story is simple and not very hard to follow. Han and Qi'ra are scavengers on Corellia, and at this time the Empire have already taken over, and the scavengers are forced to scrounge for their keep. There are inner gangs within the planet that keep a tight leash on the scavengers, but Han and Qi'ra attempt to escape together. Han escaped past the Imperial checkpoint, but Qi'ra gets kidnapped, and Han realizes he can't save her and needs to do something fast before the gangsters catch him, so he applies to be an Imperial pilot. Now we fast forward to a year later, and Han's a mud trooper in the Imperial Army as they attempt to take over a planet filled with trenches. The mud troopers look pretty cool, especially the stormtrooper variants. Han meets a group of smugglers disguised as troopers set on escaping the planet to fulfill a job. Han asks to tag along because he doesn't belong with the Empire. But Han soon gets taken captive by troopers for being accused of desertion and is thrown into a pit with a monster, and that monster is Chewbacca. At this point, Chewie is rabid, but luckily Han can speak his language and they both come to an agreement to escape together, and they do just that with the aid of the gangsters from before. A lot of stuff happens after that. The whole gang tries to steal this cargo of an explosive substance from an Imperial transport, but run into a group of marauders called Infra's Nest. Han proves he is a capable pilot by helping Chewie, the group's leader, escape the encounter with their lives at the cost of 2 of the smugglers dying and their cargo being destroyed. The group needed the cargo for a job with a crime lord who works for an unknown leader. The 3 smugglers try to explain their situation to the boss, and we find out that Qi'ra is working for him. To make up for their mistake, the group, along with Qi'ra, are set on another task, but on the way we meet Lando and his sidekick, L3. And L3 is a droid, and she's got a really bad attitude because she wants equal rights for robots. She also has a thing with Lando, or at least thinks she does, In an attempt to steal more of the explosive substance they found earlier on Kessel, the group starts a riot within a prison, and Chewie liberates some Wookiee prisoners, and L3 dies trying to save the robots. Everything else in the story is action-packed as well. Han flies Lando's Millennium Falcon to make the Kessel Run in record time, the Falcon gets beat up, Infus Nests are actually rebels trying to get the explosive stuff out of the wrong hands. The whole group fights the crime boss who has lightsaber brass knuckles. Han gets betrayed by the group's leader. He then dies because Han shoots first. Finally, the crime lord dies, and Kira leaves Han and Chewie behind on the boss's ship. Yep, just like that. Apparently she has other business to take care of because the crime organization is working for frickin' Darth Maul. We see him in full hologram form with his robot legs, and he looks awesome. This could potentially open up a possibility of a Darth Maul standalone movie. And Han plays Sabacc with Lando and wins the Falcon fair and square. Or so he says. And he brings Chewie along to Tatooine because of a job with Jabba the Hutt. There are so many Easter eggs as well that are placed in regular dialogue, like the mention of the death of Aurra Sing. And like I said, it's just a fun movie to get lost in. I hope you guys like this review, and subscribe if you want to see more Rage Quit content. And I'll see you guys on the next one.